The drill spun. It spun faster than the speed of light. It spun faster than time itself. The green energy of the spiral power collided with the gray fist of the gray man. The sound was not a boom. It was a screech. It was the sound of metal grinding against reality. The void of the stage of Null began to crack. The invisible walls shattered like glass. The stars that were actually error signs flickered and exploded. Simon stood on top of the red robot Gurren Lagann. He was small compared to the giant mecha. But his spirit was bigger than the universe. He wore his goggles. He pointed a finger at the giant gray monster. "Who do you think we are?" Simon yelled. "We are the drill that will pierce the heavens. We don't care about your errors. We don't care about your deletions. We just keep moving forward." The gray man looked at the drill. He did not have a face. He did not have eyes. But if he did, he would be confused. The gray man was the concept of the unfinished. He was the base mesh. He was the raw data before a story is written. Nothing should be able to touch him. He was the canvas. You cannot hurt the canvas with the painting. But the spiral power was different. It was evolution. It was the power to grow beyond the settings. The gray fist started to crack. A web of black lines appeared on the gray clay skin. The gray man pulled his hand back. He stumbled. His heavy feet hit the invisible floor. Thud, thud. The floor rippled like water. Goku looked up. His eyes were wide. He was exhausted. His hair was black again. He had lost his transformation. But he smiled. "That robot. It is strong," Goku said. "It feels like hope." Vegeta stood up. He held his arm. His armor was broken. "Hope is for fools." Vegeta grunted. "But I will admit, that was a good hit." Kamina stood next to Simon. He adjusted his red cape. He laughed. It was a loud, wild laugh. "Hey, you anime heroes," Kamina shouted. "Why are you laying on the ground? Are you tired? Are you scared of a big gray blob? Get up! Gritting your teeth is only for when you are winning." Naruto slowly stood up. He wiped blood from his mouth. He looked at the red robot. "He is right," Naruto said. "We can't give up. That is not my ninja way." The gray man steadied himself. He looked at his hand. The crack was glowing green. He did not like this. He raised his other hand. He swiped the air. It was a gesture like swiping a screen. "UNDO." The voice was glitchy. It sounded like a corrupted audio file. Suddenly the time reversed. The green cracks on his hand vanished. The gray skin became smooth again. The gray man had used the undo command. He deleted the damage. Anno's Voldigoad narrowed his eyes. He watched the healing. "He is manipulating the timeline of his own object data," Anno said. "He simply reverted to a previous save state. This will be annoying." The gray man looked at Gurren Lagann. He raised his hand again. He pointed his palm at the robot. DESELECT. A beam of gray light shot out. It hit Gurren Lagann. The robot didn't explode. It just stopped moving. The colors faded. The bright red turned into a dull gray. The green spiral energy vanished. The robot froze in place. It became a statue. Simon yelled, "Lagann, move!" The robot did not answer. It had been deselected. It was no longer the active object. It was just background scenery. The gray man turned his head toward the heroes. He raised his foot. He was going to stomp on them. The foot was massive. It was the size of a mountain. It cast a giant shadow over Goku and the others. "Move!" Ichigo yelled. He stepped away. Goku grabbed Vegeta and teleported. Instant transmission. They appeared 100 feet away. Boom. The gray foot stomped the ground. A shockwave of white lines expanded. The shockwave hit the heroes. It didn't hurt them physically. It hit their resolution. Luffy fell over. "I feel weird," Luffy said. He looked at his hand. His hand was not round anymore. It was blocky. It was made of sharp triangles. "My hand. It is pointy." Naruto looked at his legs. They were not smooth. They looked like low-quality video game graphics. "We are losing our pixels," Naruto said. "We are turning into blocks." The gray man was using a new attack, Decimate. He was reducing the polygon count of the heroes. He was making them simple. He was making them weak. Saitama looked at his glove. It was just a red square. Huh, Saitama said. This reminds me of the webcomic. The gray man roared. Processing. The void around them started to change. The black darkness disappeared. It was replaced by a checkerboard pattern, gray and white squares. It was the default texture of a missing file. Ainz Ooal Gown looked at the floor. This environment, Ainz said, it is the developer room. We are inside the creation engine. This entity, he is not just a monster. He is the system itself. Rimuru Tempest turned into a slime, but he was just a blue cube now. He couldn't bounce. He just slid. This is bad, Rimuru thought. My skills are complex, but this body is too simple to process them. I can't use Raphael. I don't have enough memory. Gojo Satoru tried to use infinity, but the space around him was glitching. The distance wasn't infinite anymore. It was just a flat texture. My barrier is gone, Gojo said. There is no math here, just geometry. The gray man walked toward them. He was still high resolution. He was smooth. The heroes were blocky and sharp. It was a fight between a modern movie character and a game character from 1995. Goku tried to charge ki, but the aura was just a yellow triangle. It flickered and died. I can't gather energy, Goku said. It feels like there is a leak. The gray man reached down. He grabbed the frozen Gurren Lagann. He crushed the robot in his hand. The gray metal crumpled. He threw the robot away. It crashed into the checkerboard floor. Simon fell out of the robot. He hit the ground. He was blocky too. His goggles were just two black squares. Is this it? Vegeta asked. He looked at his blocky hands. To be reduced to a sketch? To be deleted because we are too detailed? Suddenly, Anos Voldigoad laughed. Everyone looked at him. Anos was blocky too. His Demon King outfit was just black shapes. But his smile was still there. Why are you laughing? Ichigo asked. We're turning into blocks. Anos stepped forward. He walked toward the gray man. His movement was jerky because he had no knees. Just straight polygons. So what if I am a block? Anos said. Do you think my power comes from my appearance? Do you think my magic relies on graphics? Anos raised his blocky hand. My power comes from my source, Anos said. And my source is perfection. Even if I am a single dot, I am still the Demon King. Anos cast a spell. It was a simple spell, but he poured all his chaotic energy into it. Jirast. A bolt of black lightning shot from his hand. It wasn't detailed lightning. It was a jagged black line. It hit the gray man's leg. The gray man paused. He looked at his leg. A black pixel appeared on his skin. Then another. The corruption was spreading. Anos smiled. You try to simplify us, but you forgot something. Simple things are harder to break. A complex machine has many parts that can fail. A solid block is unbreakable. Saitama heard this. He stood up. He brushed off his square knees. He is right, Saitama said. I like being simple. It is easier to draw. Saitama walked forward. He stood next to Anos. Hey, big gray guy, Saitama yelled. You made a mistake. You took away my details. Now I am more aerodynamic. Saitama jumped. He moved instantly. Because he had less polygons, he had less drag. He appeared in front of the gray man's face. Normal punch. Low poly version. Saitama punched the gray man's nose. Crack. The sound was 8-bit, like a retro game sound effect. Psh! The gray man's head snapped back. A massive dent appeared in his face. The smooth clay cracked. The gray man stumbled back. He made a noise. E-R-R-O-R. He did not expect this. He thought lowering their quality would make them weak. But for Saitama, lowering his quality just brought him closer to his original form. The One. Goku watched this. His eyes lit up. "I get it," Goku said. "We don't need to be fancy. We just need to be us." Goku clenched his blocky fists. He didn't try to go Super Saiyan Blue. He didn't try to go Ultra Instinct. He just went Super Saiyan. The original. The classic. His hair turned yellow. It was a solid yellow block. His eyes turned green. "Let's go back to basics," Goku yelled. Naruto understood too. He didn't use Baryon mode. He didn't use 6 paths. He just used the Rasengan, a simple blue ball. "Rasengan!" Naruto yelled. Ichigo didn't use Horn of Salvation. He just used his Bankai. Tensa Zangetsu, a simple black sword. Luffy didn't use Gear 5. He went Gear 2. His skin turned pink. Steam came out of him. The heroes charged. They were a team of low-poly warriors. They looked like they belonged in a retro arcade game, but their spirit was high definition. The gray man swiped his hand. DELETE. A wave of erasure energy swept across the floor. Jinwoo stepped forward. He summoned his shadows. But they weren't detailed knights. They were flat black silhouettes. Shadow puppets. The shadow puppets jumped over the erasure wave. They latched onto the gray man. They bit him. They scratched him. The gray man tried to shake them off. GETOFF. Vegeta flew up. Big bang attack. He fired a white sphere. It hit the gray man in the chest. Boom. A cloud of blocky smoke appeared. The gray man was getting pushed back. He was confused. The unfinished cannot lose. The base mesh is the foundation of all. How can the details beat the foundation? The gray man roared. He clapped his hands together. RENDER. A blinding light filled the checkerboard void. The heroes covered their eyes. When the light faded, the gray man had changed. He was no longer gray. He was no longer smooth. He had absorbed the concept of genre. He had armor. It was hyper-realistic armor. It had scratches. It had rust. It had reflections. It looked realer than real. It looked like a 8K movie. He grew spikes. He grew glowing red eyes. He grew a mouth with thousands of teeth. He was now the rendered beast. He looked at the blocky heroes. "You are obsolete." The rendered beast spoke in surround sound. His voice shook the hero's bones. He raised a finger. He fired a beam. It was a ray tracing beam. It was made of pure light physics. The beam hit Ainz' Ooal gown. Ainz tried to block with a magical barrier. Wall of skeleton. The beam melted the wall instantly. It hit Ainz. Ainz screamed. His bones started to burn. The light was too realistic. It was burning his data. "Lord Ainz," Albedo yelled from inside Ainz's inventory space. She was just a voice. Ainz fell to his knees. His health bar dropped to red. "This light?" Ainz gasped. "It calculates every photon. It is too much information for my body to handle." The rendered beast laughed. It was a deep, cinematic laugh. "I possess the ultimate graphics. I possess the ultimate resolution. You are just sketches. Sketches cannot kill a masterpiece." He stomped the ground. The checkerboard floor turned into a realistic city. Skyscrapers rose from the ground. Concrete, glass, steel. It was a perfect city. But it was a trap. The buildings started to attack the heroes. Wires shot out of the walls. They wrapped around Goku. They wrapped around Naruto. Goku struggled. "These wires, they are so strong." "They are 4K cables," Vegeta yelled. He tried to blast them, but his low-poly energy just bounced off the high-resolution metal. "We can't hurt him," Jinwoo said. "He is too real. Our attacks don't register." The rendered beast walked toward them. He pulled out a sword. The sword was made of liquid chrome. It reflected everything perfectly. "I will crop you out of existence," the beast said. He raised the sword to strike Goku. Goku looked at the sword. He saw his own blocky reflection in the blade. "Is this it?" Goku thought. Are we going to die because we don't have enough pixels? Suddenly a noise cut through the air. It was a revving noise, like a chainsaw or a motorcycle. Vrrr. Everyone looked at the pile of junk that was Gurren Lagann. The gray frozen robot was shaking. The gray color was cracking. Underneath the gray, there was a light, a green light. Simon was standing up. He held his core drill in his hand. The drill was glowing. It was glowing so bright it hurt to look at. Simon didn't look at the beast. He looked at his friends. "Don't let him decide what is real," Simon yelled. "Real isn't about graphics. Real isn't about resolution. Real is what you feel in your soul." Simon jammed the core drill into his own chest. Spirals. Green energy exploded from Simon. It rushed into the robot. The gray shell shattered. Gurren Lagann stood up. But it changed. It absorbed the spiral energy. It grew. It grew wings. It grew sunglasses. Arc Gurren Lagann. The robot was not blocky, but it wasn't hyper-realistic either. It was stylized. It was art. It had thick black outlines. It had vibrant colors. It looked like the coolest anime frame ever drawn. Simon jumped into the cockpit. "Who the hell do you think we are?" The robot flew at the beast. It moved with the logic of animation. It stretched. It smeared. It didn't follow physics. It followed the rule of cool. The rendered beast swung his chrome sword. Calculation perfect. Trajectory calculated. Gurren Lagann didn't dodge. It punched the sword. Space-time. Shattering punch. The fist hit the sword. The sword shattered. "What?" the beast said. "That is impossible. The physics engine says..." "Screw your physics." Kamina's voice echoed from the spirit world. Gurren Lagann punched the beast in the face. POW. The impact created a text bubble. Bam! The beast flew back. He crashed into a skyscraper. The skyscraper exploded into hand-drawn fire effects. Goku saw this. He smiled. He understood. "We don't need to be realistic," Goku said. "We are anime. We have our own style." Goku closed his eyes. He focused. He didn't try to increase his resolution. He increased his style. He powered up. His blocky form smoothed out, but he didn't become real. He became animated. The lines around him became thick and black. The shading became dramatic. He entered the manga dimension style. Vegeta did the same. He looked like he was drawn with a sharp pen. His shading was made of cross-hatching lines. "We define our own reality," Vegeta yelled. Naruto transformed. He looked like a calligraphy painting. Ink strokes swirled around him. Ichigo looked like a Bleach bypass film. High contrast. Black and white. Saitama just looked like Saitama. He was already perfect. The heroes stood together. They were a mix of different art styles, but they were all united. The rendered beast stood up from the rubble. He looked angry. His perfect armor was dented. "You reject perfection?" the beast asked. "You reject the upgrade?" "We reject your boring reality," Luffy yelled. Luffy looked like a rubber hose cartoon from the 1930s. He bounced up and down. The beast roared. "Then I will crash the server." The beast opened his chest. A blue light started to glow. It wasn't a normal light. It was the blue light of death. FATAL. ERROR. The sky turned blue. White text appeared in the sky. "A problem has been detected, and the universe has been shut down to prevent damage." The ground started to shake. Not physically. It shook existentially. The world was crashing. "If he completes the crash, everything will be wiped," Ainz yelled. "He is initiating a hard reset." "We have to stop him before the loading bar fills up," Rimuru yelled. He pointed to the sky. A giant white loading bar appeared. It was at 10%. "Attack!" Goku yelled. The heroes charged. The beast fired error messages at them. Giant boxes that said, "Access denied." Zoro, who was lost and just arrived, cut a box in half. "No access denied here," Zoro yelled. Goku flew past the errors. He dodged the glitches. He got close to the beast. Dragon fist. Goku punched. A dragon made of ink flew out. It hit the beast's armor. It cracked the texture. Vegeta fired a final flash. The beam looked like a comic book panel. It hit the beast's leg. But the loading bar was moving fast. 30%. 50%. The beast laughed. "You are too slow. The crash is inevitable." Suddenly, a shadow appeared over the beast. It was not a hero. It was not a villain. It was a giant hand. A hand made of wire frame. It reached down from the top of the universe. The beast looked up. What? The hand grabbed the beast. It lifted him up. The Grand Priest was floating near the ceiling of the void. He was hurt, but he was holding his staff. He was controlling the wireframe hand. "I am the administrator of this tournament," the Grand Priest said. His voice was weak but firm. "And I did not authorize a system crash." The Grand Priest used his angel power to pause the loading bar. It stopped at 99%. "Now," the Grand Priest yelled. "Finish him!" Goku looked at his friends. "We need one attack that combines all our styles." Naruto nodded. "A combination." "Jutsu." Luffy nodded. "A docking." Ano smiled. "A fusion of sources." They all gathered together. Goku charged a Kamehameha. Vegeta charged a Gallic gun. Naruto charged a Rasengan. Luffy charged a King gun. Ichigo charged a Getsuga. Saitama pulled back his fist. Simon charged his drill. Ainz cast a spell. Rimuru used a skill. Anos used his sword. Jinwoo used his shadows. Gojo used purple. They combined their energy into one point. The energy ball was chaotic. It had ink. It had paint. It had pixels. It had spirals. It was the Omni-style breaker. "Take this!" they all yelled together. They fired the beam. The beam flew across the void. It tore through the error messages. It tore through the glitches. The rendered beast looked at the beam. He saw art. He saw creativity. He saw the one thing he didn't have. Soul. "I am empty." The beam hit him. Boom! The explosion was not just fire. It was a splash of color. Paint exploded everywhere. The realistic city was painted over. The gray sky was painted blue. The blue screen of death was painted with clouds. The rendered beast screamed as his textures were overwritten. He turned into a statue of colorful graffiti. Then he crumbled. He turned into dust. The loading bar vanished. The sky cleared. The heroes landed on the ground. They were panting. They were back to their normal anime styles. We did it," Naruto said. Goku laughed. "That was close. I thought I was going to be a block forever." Simon jumped down from Gurren Lagann. That's the power of the spiral. Combining everything to make something new. Suddenly the wireframe hand that the Grand Priest summoned started to glow. It didn't disappear. It changed. It turned into a staircase, a spiral staircase leading up into the white light where the beast came from. The Grand Priest floated down. He looked tired. His halo was dim. "You have defeated the unfinished concept," the Grand Priest said. "You have proven that your stories are strong enough to define reality." He pointed to the stairs. "Up there lies the true creator. The one who wrote The Gray Man. The one who wrote the tournament." Goku looked at the stairs. "So the final boss is up there?" The Grand Priest nodded. "Yes, but be warned. The creator is not a fighter. He is—" Before he could finish, the stairs started to vibrate. A sound came from the top. It was the sound of a keyboard typing. Click, click, click. Then a voice spoke. It was a normal human voice. It sounded tired. It sounded like a writer who had been awake for 24 hours. Okay, episode 17 is done. Time for the twist. The heroes froze. They heard the voice. It wasn't in their heads. It was coming from above the sky. He is talking about us? Vegeta asked. Let's see, the voice said. Who should die in the next episode? Maybe Goku? No, fans will be mad. Maybe Naruto. Goku looked angry. He is playing with our lives. Goku flew to the stairs. I'm going to have a word with this guy. Goku ran up the stairs. The others followed him. They ran up the spiral, higher and higher. They ran past the stars. They ran past the galaxies. They reached the top. There was a door, a simple wooden door. Goku kicked it open. They expected a throne room. They expected a dungeon. But they saw a room, a messy bedroom. There were posters on the wall, Dragon Ball posters, One Piece posters. There were action figures on the shelf. There was a bed with unmade sheets. And in the center of the room there was a desk. A computer screen was glowing. And sitting in the chair was a human. He was wearing a hoodie. He had messy hair. He was typing on a keyboard. He stopped typing. He turned his chair around. He looked at Goku. He looked at the heroes standing in his bedroom. The human smiled. It was a nervous smile. Hi, the human said. Goku clenched his fist. Are you the creator? The human nodded. I am the author. Welcome to my room. Vegeta looked around. This is it? This is the higher dimension? It smells like ramen cups. The author laughed. Yeah, sorry about the mess. Creating universes is hard work. Saitama walked forward. He looked at the computer screen. He saw the script. He saw the words. Saitama walked forward. Hey, Saitama said. That's me. The author nodded. I am writing you right now. So if I punch you, the story ends? Saitama asked. He raised his fist. The author didn't flinch. You can't punch me, Saitama. I am in the real world. You are on the screen. There is a glass wall between us. The fourth wall. Saitama tapped the air. There was a sound. Tink. Tink. There was an invisible wall. Ainz Voldigoad stepped forward. He looked at the wall. A wall? Ainz said, You think a wall can stop me? The author smiled. Usually? No. But this is the ultimate wall. The fiction barrier. You exist because I type. If I stop typing, you freeze. The author lifted his hands off the keyboard. Everyone froze. Goku stopped blinking. Vegeta stopped breathing. The dust motes in the air stopped moving. The author took a sip of soda. He put the cup down. He put his hands back on the keys. Resume. The heroes gasped. They moved again. See, the author said. I have total control. Goku looked at his hands. That is cheating. It's not cheating, the author said. It's storytelling. But, the author said, I am bored. I have been writing this war for a long time. I want a finale. A real finale. The author pressed a button on his desk. I am going to enter the story. The computer screen started to glow. The author's body started to turn into light. He was digitizing himself. I am coming down there, the author said. And I am bringing the deleted scenes. The author vanished from the chair. Suddenly a figure appeared in the room with the heroes. It was the author, but he was glowing gold. He held a giant pen. The pen of absolute truth. Now, the avatar of the author said, let's see if you can beat the plot itself. The room melted away. They were back in the void. But the void was filled with giant floating words. Words like death, hope, betrayal. The author spun his pen. Chapter 18 starts now. He pointed the pen at Naruto. Naruto dies. A beam of ink shot from the pen. Goku jumped in front of Naruto. No! The ink hit Goku. Goku fell to the ground. His eyes went blank. "Goku!" Vegeta screamed. The author smiled. Dramatic tension established. The creator has descended. The pen is mightier than the sword. Can the heroes fight the one who writes their destiny? To be continued in episode 18.